There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, welcome.
Make a quick decision that you can't regret too quickly. Think about it too much. And oh no, oh no. Did I comb my hair? Oh no. I have an incredible list of things to include in the next hour or slightly less, I think. My first port of call, I think, is teenagers. You will find them in secondary schools. So how do you get to expose teenagers to coaching without actually calling it coaching? The reason I don't call it coaching is because some teachers, and particularly in this area, think they know what coaching is and they don't want it because they think it's something else. So I changed the label in order to get people to buy into it. I call it learning conversations. You know, as a coactive coach, you sit down and you have a conversation where you both actually learn something. And there may also be a call to action. It's usually the client or the coachee who's called to action. So I wanted that for teenagers. And I didn't know if they wanted it, but I thought I'd try it out. I invited myself to give talks to teenagers at secondary schools. Now, I'm an immigrant to this country, so I thought I'd give a talk about being an immigrant. I'm also an English teacher, so I had some interesting ways of teaching English. So I thought about teaching English. I'm a native speaker as well, so that was a title. And I have my own company, so I could talk about starting and running your own company. These were all excuses to coach, okay? So I put up a label saying, for example, how to start and run your own company. Well, that's interesting. A lot of people are interested in starting their own company. But when I get there, I did what we just did. Hi, I'm Martin. I've had my own company for 15 years. What do you want to know? And we co-create the agenda for the day. I normally write it up on the board, and I even get them to pick what's most important. And when they are fully on board with what I'm going to do, it's completely different than if I came to them and said, hello, my name is Martin Richards. I'm going to tell you about how to run a company. So just that co-creation gets the kids from sort of sitting like this, oh, who's this guy? What's he doing here? Where's our teacher? What's this lesson going to be about? To, oh, really? I can ask any question I like. This guy will answer it. So long as you can't Google it. I did one about job seeking, going to apply for a job. I walked in, the teacher said, here's Martin Richards, a bit like Beatrice did just now. Here's Martin Richards. He's going to teach you how to apply for a job. Ooh, how interesting is that? It's one of the things they have to do. So I stood there in front of them and I said nothing. I just looked at them. And they looked at me, looking at them, wondering what the heck's going on. And after enough time had passed, again, another coactive thing, you get antennae, not just your eyes and ears, but you get to feel, okay, now they're really curious. I got them to talk to the person next to them. And I said, write down 3 things you believe are true about me. Yes, I'm a man, so you can't include that. And yes, I'm English, so you can't include that. Otherwise, go. And they sat for 3 or 4 minutes and wrote with each other what they thought they knew about me after 0 seconds of introduction. And then I listened to their ideas. So what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And I was saying, yes, that's right. Yeah, kind of. Yes, that's right. What? Really? Okay. Bit of humor. And they had really worked out who I was. The first thing they said about me is, oh, you're a teacher. How do you know? What do you stand at the front of the room like you own the place. Like I own the place. Oh, you're a leader. Yes, I'm a leader. What else? What else? What else? And that became the next question. What does an employer know about you as you walk into the room? How did you know I was a teacher? How did you know I was all of these things? And so they talked about body language, they talked about confidence, they talked about the clothes I was wearing, how I stood. They were giving themselves advice on what to do when they applied for a job. So that's pretty much the way I tackle working with teenagers. If I go in to tell them something, they won't listen. Their ears shut down. But if I go in and I make it really smell nice, you know how coffee, sometimes you walk past a place, you go, oh God, I want some coffee. Or something else, you smell, oh, for me it's pizza, it's like the oregano and the sizzling cheese, it's like, oh, I must have. You've got to make it like that, somehow. And each of us will do it in our own way. I try to be enigmatic and humorous, and I try to get them on board with creating whatever it is that we will do right here and now, whatever the talk might be. I'll pause there for reflections. What are your thoughts on that?
Totally. No, I completely agree with what you're saying, because I've had a lot of experience teaching teenagers as well, and that's exactly it. And I think it's about respect as well. When you show them that you respect them and they do have something to say, that creates another dynamic as well. And then they're more likely to open up because they want to, and so I completely, get everything that you were saying. Yeah, I've had experience in that as well. Yeah.
It is about respect,
Yeah.
I'll go to other people and then I'll come back to maybe a little summary or a next story. Well, depends what happens.
I was starting to think about that, how you started with
coaching with the teenagers.
Oops. It's okay. You can say first. I think we were talking same time.
Can anybody hear me? I don't know.
Yes, we can hear you, Renu. You froze, but your voice is clear. So, yeah, please go on.
She froze again.
Froze again, and the voice is gone.
Can we invite people to write in the chat?
My connection is not very good. Please go ahead. I'll ask.
Okay, so it was Rebecca.
Also, Renu, if you want to type, you can type your question in the box, in the chat box. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I had the question about how you started giving a new name for that you didn't use that coaching name. Would that work also, do you think, in other areas? Now that I'm thinking about my other question, but if I would, have some people group that don't, maybe know that word that well, that maybe I could, in like you did, you had some other name for it, like this learning communication, or how did you, or this discussion. Yeah. So what do you think would that be?
Well, there was a reason I changed the name. I mean, I'd spend a long time, I'd spend hundreds of envelopes with invitations to teachers to come to a meeting about coaching. Oh, nobody came. I was shocked, disgusted. I mean, here's my life purpose, and nobody turned up. So I had to, I don't give up. I don't know what up is. So I find another way. So what is it? What can I do? And I was giving talks, and I realized that if I give a talk that's got a really juicy title, people turn up. I was at one school, I was going to give 4 talks during the day. It was one of those careers days. They said, would you come and give your talk? Like I've only got one. And so they called it the same name 4 times, and then they're going to rotate the students around different speakers. So I had a group in front of me. I can't remember what it was, but let's say it was starting your own company. And all those students go out, and then more students come in, but the front row is still there. And they said, oh, it's so good, we want to go around again. So, oh, okay, so I'll have to do something different. So there's this thing about, it doesn't matter what label you put on it. If you want to do something and you tell them that and they don't turn up, it's because they're not ready. But you can jump the gun a bit by labeling it in a different way. So I called it learning conversations, because teachers have conversations all the time. So this seemed normal. how to have a deep learning conversation. It wasn't coaching, but it was using some of the aspects of coactivity, like co-creating in the moment. I have a plan, here I am, here's my plan, hello, my name, blah, 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 blah. That's the old stuff. I go in and go, you know what, guys? I want to know what you want to know. And they go, oh, good. Somebody actually wants to know who we are and why we're here and what's going on, and can possibly answer some of our questions.
Yeah, that was also something that I really liked about how you approached that you like let them ask you, and so that was really good way, because normally we just come and then we tell who we are and what we are about to say. So that was really good.
Yeah. It takes courage, because I have no script, and I can, as I said, I did it 4 times in one day at one school.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all 4 of them were different because the groups were different. But the teachers rotated. Some of the teachers came back. This is what I like. The teachers came back in the afternoon, and I was like, hi, you're here again. He said, yeah, we've heard it's good. Even the second time. I said, there is no second time. There's only now. And that also leads into coaching, that now is all you've got. That the past impacts, but it doesn't decide your life, and you can have some influence on your future. It's all about now, in this moment, and trusting that you are enough.
That's the beauty about not having a script as well, because it's just free flow. You just deal with whatever comes up. Yeah. I must admit, the first year I did have a script. I had a talk that was about starting your own company, being an immigrant, blah, blah, blah. And it was safe. You know, it got me in, it got me known.
Martin, thank you for sharing that. I noticed that Renu put a question in the chat box. I will just read it out. I'm not sure what the question is, but see, with teenagers, putting them in the same and equal platform works. This is what she would like to know more about.
Absolutely. So I'm working with perhaps slightly older teenagers. They're 14, 15. I'm not working with like 13, 14-year-olds. They're very young, in middle school. So here's an example. By the way, I've written all of my stories in several books, so you can dig into those later. This comes from there. We had a group of immigrants to Sweden, and they are forced to learn Swedish so they can learn everything else. The thing is, Swedish is not an easy language to learn. It might take 2 years. And it's really, really, really important. It might take 3 years. So the Swedish teachers tend to push the importance of learning Swedish. And when teachers push teenagers push back. So I was in a class where all of the students had gone on strike. They'd refused to do homework, they refused to do tests, they even refused to do lessons. And it was so important because it was Swedish. So I was brought in, and there's a story there about gaining teenagers respect, how you do it. And I won't go into that now, but you can imagine that they now respect me, and I'm wanting somebody to, in a way, represent them. I want to work with them to bring them up to want to learn Swedish. But I can't say that. I can't say, you must want to learn Swedish, because that's obviously going to fail. So I work with their dreams. I invited anyone to come up, but there's always a Nancy in the room who says, yeah, I'll do it. And this guy was a little bit taller than me, teenagers taller than me. I have a thing about that. Hi, guys. And I asked him I asked him 5 questions. I asked permission to ask him 5 questions. The first one was, who are you? Which he answered with his name. And then I asked him, yes, that's your name, but who are you? So he told me a little about himself. I said, that's very interesting. Now I know a little bit about you. But who are you? And you could feel in the room that he was wanting to fill this space of who am I? He was 16. Who am I? And he didn't really know. Once we got to that big question mark, I don't know who I am. I asked, would you like to find out? Yes. So I took him back, I think 5 years. How were you 5 years ago? An 11-year-old little boy, well, a little bit embarrassed. He said, oh, okay, so what's happened? What have you learned since you were 11? So he told a little story there. And then I took him forwards in time. Now he's an adult. Standing next to me is both the 11-year-old, the 16-year-old, and the 21-year-old. They're all the same person, they're just at different times. And by taking him forwards into who do you want to be? Who are you becoming? He suddenly grew in front of his chest, came out, his voice went down, and he really took off. He wants to be the ambassador for Syria in this country because his people are, and he just launched into this political talk about, and this was in Swedish. And I asked, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? That resource. He said, and he says, I need to learn Swedish. I said, is there anyone here who can help you? And there were 5 teachers in the room. He looked at his teacher and said, will you teach me Swedish? And they were in tears because this is what they've been trying to get them to say, to understand that in order to live your dreams, you have to understand Swedish. So yes, by standing next to them and seeing them as the mature but young people they are, you can accelerate them into becoming who they are. Just for a moment, in that moment, they are not 16, but they're 21, and then come back. I say they, he was representing everybody in the room, because the debrief afterwards was that everyone had seen themselves in their future self in that moment when he stood up, when his voice went down, his chest came out. They all said, yeah, I want this too. I'm going to be a whatever, because we got them to write down the name of who they wanted to be. So yeah, that's also coaching the room whilst coaching one person, which is something that I've turned into a bit of a speciality. Did that answer anybody's question? Or was that just a story from random, from nowhere? Yeah, okay. Yeah. It also works when I've got, let's say, young teenagers with behavioral issues. There's something with them that means I can't sit still. I'm a bit of a fidget. And I see them, I resonate with them. And I can see the shy people as well. And I pick up on that. And just seeing them, not in this kind of, what's the right word? Compromised state. Not, oh, I'm having difficulty, but see them as beautiful. This itchiness that you have, this is going to drive you all, not mad, it's going to drive you for your whole life. And this introversion, you are going to come up with such brilliant stuff that the rest of us can't see because you're looking inwards. And see that potential for them, with them. They look up and go, really? And that's wonderful to be able to hold that mirror up for them within knowing them maybe for 40, 45 minutes and having a little bit of a conversation. Say, you have a way about you that's just seeing them. Again, it's a little bit of coactivity, being with and witnessing what is without making it, without judging it. I mean, even being careful not to judge it as good. Again, I'll pause for water. Questions, thoughts, and if you can't get on the microphone, type away. Beatrix will read, I think.
Yes. And also just unmute yourself.
Yeah. I don't have a question. I have just one remark, and I've already learned a lot in maybe 10 minutes, and it is to bring out my coactivity in and for teenagers, because when I'm coaching / training in the classroom, it's more, I come maybe from a place where I'm trying to co-create with them, but I'm not really using this coactivity of future self. Maybe it was my limiting belief, thinking they won't get it, we need to give them. And that's already a big aha moment for me. So thank you. I need to disconnect, but I'm not able to because I'm so definitely listening.
Well, we are recording, I think.
I know, but I don't want to miss it.
But it's
Because
all in there now.
I have next week, I have one of the whatever workshops next week, and like, I think I'm going to transform the whole material now.
Do that.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, a thought came up for me. I hope I didn't interrupt anyone. It's kind of not real. Is a desire and a hope that, you know, teachers bring these type of conversations more and more into the class. And from the other parts, where I'm in the training and development departments, and we are developing the materials for the teacher training, I can see how much more emphasis we put on the academics and the technology and the e-access and everything else. And we don't talk about character development, future self, questioning, performance boosters, or something along, you know, listening, empathy, value, strengths. So these are somehow not there. So yeah, it wasn't really a question. It's just like a.
Absolutely agree with you. And even when we talk, that's what I started by saying, is like, I feel I go in and out. If this work is not carried over by teachers to the students, so this is where I want to elevate the coaching into the leadership, the teachers. If I talk about future self and I build this and I show them, I don't know, they tap into their values, the purpose, they start, and then the teachers come and talk a different language where they're just pushing academics on, I think this will not get me very far, or get them.
I have a solution to that. Or a
Oh,
suggestion.
yes, please.
Let's hear that.
Oh, yes, please.
Okay. So teachers say sometimes, oh, I don't have time to coach. Goodness me, I'm too busy teaching. And they're right, they don't have time to coach. And I ask them, what do they spend their time on? And yes, they do teach, but they also have to struggle with things like motivating the students who seem awfully ill-motivated, and there's the parents as well, and there's the colleagues, and there's all sorts of issues. I said, what if the students were all motivated? How would that be? And they look at me like I'm trying to sell them dead fish or something. What? All the students are motivated. Well, if they were all motivated, how would that be? A lot easier. They should be motivated, but they're not. Okay. I asked them how much time they spend on motivating the students during a term, and it's hours and hours and hours, because once they get into story, they kind of exaggerate a little bit, so they're happy to say that it's hours. I said, what if you spent half of that time at the beginning, such that you don't have anywhere near as many problems? How would that be if all the students were motivated? They're going, where's the catch? Where's the catch in this? But they're at least intrigued enough to say, okay, I understand that the problems escalate during the term, and often at the end of the term, there are students who are saying, oh, but you've never, you know, you must help me more or whatever, if they're going to fail. And it would have been better to have had that at the beginning, but they don't know what, and they don't know how. So I teach them to, I think I borrowed a lot from, I think it's motivational interviews, something like that. Have an interview with the student. Get them to tell you who are they, who do they want to be, and how does what they're learning fit into that? Because if it doesn't fit in, they're not going to be very well motivated. But you ask the question. Normally you presume the answer. So ask the question, who are you? Now, what's going on in your life? And they do that with everybody at the same time. You could interview one person and have the others listen and write down their answers, because there's always somebody who'll come up and do it verbally. Who are you? What do you want from this course? What part of this course do you anticipate you're going to have, you know, struggles with? And how can I, as your teacher, support you during that time? I'm going to be giving you homework. What's the best way for me to give you homework? Should I write it down? Or have a negotiation with the student about the entire course as a representative for all of the students in the room. But what happens is 80% of the students go, oh, good, someone wants to know what I think. This is what I want. This is who I am. This is where I'm going. This is what I need. And they write it down, or they give it verbally because they're different. And there's always a few, unfortunately, who are at school or college because they have to. They don't want to be there. They have to be there. And that's more difficult. That's a different conversation, because I don't think it's the teacher's responsibility in that case. But to have that initial conversation, not I'm going to tell you how we do it, but have a conversation about how shall we do it. Co-create the relationship for the entire course and leave the book open so you can always renegotiate. At some point you might go, didn't we have an agreement that this would be like this? It's not working. How's it working? It's not, is it? So what should we do instead? One example. Student who couldn't keep still was always jumping out of his seat. Like me when I was a kid, always out of his seat. And the teacher's, oh, it's awful. He's always disturbing the lesson. There's so much energy going there. We had a look at the options, what she could do. And what's the craziest thing to do? Take the chair away. We had it as an option and a crazy option at that. She said, you know what? I'm going to do that because it's so unexpected. So the kid comes into the class. There's no seat. She says, yes, you may stand or you may walk around. That's okay. What happened? The kid goes, well, I want my chair back. She said, but you have to sit still in your chair. Okay. Done. Because it was negotiated, a bit cruelly, I thought, but at least it was negotiated, not presumed, expected, never talked about, just imposed. So there's a little theme there around teenagers, that they don't like being, they'd rather be involved in the discussion. There's not always that space to do things differently, but there's usually something that you can do differently. Just the fact that you asked is more than they've got from any other teacher. I don't know if it answers any question, but it was fun to tell.
Thank you. I notice, some mysterious smiles on the screen and some silence as well. I'm wondering, Martin, if you want to talk a little bit about, I remember it was Nancy, maybe Taya asked about it was Nancy, about parents and something around, oh, sorry, this is it's in the UAE if you have this.
Oh, is that only Abu Dhabi then, the curfew?
Yeah,
Who's
every time.
Oh,
yeah.
Dubai, we don't have it anymore.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that was police just alarming me. Don't go out after 8, which is like 20-something minutes. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah.
What I can say about parents is that I haven't worked with parents very much. But I do get parents calling me and saying, my son isn't doing his homework, could you coach him? To which I reply, yes, if he calls me, I will coach him. Yeah. Or at least I'll have a conversation. Oh, by the way, perhaps you'd like some coaching on your parenting. Because that's where the issue is. But normally, nah, they don't want that. They want the kid fixed. And it's not just sons, it's also daughters. So parents also turn up with ideas about how their child should be taught, and teachers can get very upset about that. So that has been included as part of the coaching. So that's coaching not in the classroom, but to do with school. And there's a lot of fear going into the sort of meetings that parents, either the parents are called to a meeting, or the parents want to question why the teacher's doing what they're doing. And then again, the solution is to co-create something. So instead of having a face-to-face conversation, which often leads to hostility, that you turn sideways and say, let's look at this up here. You know, this is the thing we want to work on. It's your son, your daughter, and progress, rather than having it face to face. And do something in the moment rather than too much based on what's happened, because that's gone. So not so very much experience of coaching around the parents.
Can I check back with Nancy that if you got your question answered? Or
actually, when Martin was speaking, I could relate as a parent, because we have just moved to Germany and we've been through all these challenges that he were talking about, and thanks God we handled likely the same way or something with the teachers, because in his school we have like psychological counselor, and they have like they call it learning how to learn program, not coaching, and where they help the children to know how to learn and how to communicate and how to solve. So I was I was very touched when you were talking about the way you handled with others, and what do you want to be, and how can we help you, because it is almost the same strategies we used, and we could see the progress with my son personally. Yes.
great.
So if I'm contracted to work with a teacher, then I won't be speaking with the parent. And when the teacher says, I have an issue with the parent, and I'm going, well, it's the parent that should be coming in, or maybe I should be talking with you about how you relate to parents, what you think it means when a parent comes to talk with you. Because they often feel challenged, and they like to get their defenses up nice and high, plenty of bookkeeping on what the student has done.
Yes, I believe in this case, because we were very involved, and we had to change the way we deal with our son, and the way we talk, and the way, and lower our expectations and so. Yes, we had to work with them. We had to actually cooperate with them to see it coming as a parent, not as a coach, actually.
Yeah. Cool.
Great.
Can I say something? I don't know how it is in Sweden or in the rest of the world in Germany, but I've experienced here few schools, and what I've sensed, I also in my kids' school, I'm part of the parent-teacher organization, which is like the committee, and this is where all the complaints come through, the big complaints at least, the ones not solved. And it's not my role to coach, but I do wear my coaching hat when speaking to parents, because now I have the impression that parents are perceiving teachers as the ones to handle everything. If my son is not doing well, it's the teacher. If he's doing well, if this, I don't know, personality, it's the teacher. There's like, I'm sending him to school because the teacher has to take care of everything. And I've spoken about the triangle. I always say, it's it's a teacher or a school, a home, which is the parent, and the student. So if these three are not working together, it's like one part is missing.
Yes.
It doesn't work. So sending the kid out to school expecting that everything will be fixed there by the teacher, and the teacher on their defense. So when they go to me, so when they complain, when they come call me to complain, I say, okay, so what do you exactly want other than complaining? And what do you think is of a solution? And I always say, when you go meet as a strategy with whoever, the teacher, supervisor, no matter how you escalated this, like propose to them, like you do in everything else. Like, what do you want? What is the solution? What do you think? And where is your responsibility? And they go like, so shocked, like I have to deal with that as well. Like as if I don't know about you, Beatrix, you may have more hands-on experience, but that's been for the last 3 years my realization. I'm a parent myself. I'm shocked about other parents. I'm not blaming anyone, but there's this new system where I saw this comic, this cartoon thing, like back in the old days. the supervisor or the teacher, then there is a parent and the student, and they're both asking the student about their bad grades. Where does this come from? Whereas in the new age, parents are asking the the teacher, where are these coming from? As if, like, the teachers isn't the kid is entitled to good grades. If not, it's the teacher's fault.
Yeah, that's an important point, Alina, and thank you for sharing that. Before we move on, can I just check with Rinu and Seya? You have this mysterious beauty look over there on the other side of the screen, and I'm just curious what it covers, what's behind the mysterious look? What kind of thoughts are emerging there?
Can I start?
Sure.
I could be sleeping, but I know that you will awake people like this, so I'm not. Actually, I was applying all these parent-teacher student dilemma to leadership, because I think it's the same, that leaders give me some employees that make this person something, and it's often that they should change their leadership style. So it can be that the same dilemma with the leaders and managers or team leaders and the employees, and all these apply in different fields. And I'm picking very nice techniques because I will start working with this board, and I should know better, but I was preparing to go with very old-fashioned style, but I forgot to that I really have to create the motivation for grow as leaders. So I will do the same technique, that have them look themselves back and see that they have grown, so they can grow as a board member and leadership team, and create the motivation from that. So thanks a lot from that specific technique. I'm awake.
Actually, what works really well with boards, usually the people on the board are older. They're often pensioners, or maybe it's a Swedish thing. They're mature people, so they're not looking to become as much, because they've become so many things in their lives. But what they are looking to do is leave behind something of value. So when they leave this board, they want to know that I did that. That school is the way it is because I was on the board. So it's not so much them becoming something as creating something that they can leave behind when they go. You don't have to get morbid, but it can be useful to remind people of their mortality and ask them what size pyramid they would like to leave behind them, whether it's a pyramid or whether it's something else.
One, two.
Yeah, that's fun too. Okay, I've written down parents, teenagers, leadership, and there was this thing about techniques for, I think it was getting educators to buy into coaching, or what we call coaching. So I'd like to look at techniques for getting teachers on board, because that was a huge learning for, well, not just for me. I was working with a team of 8 or 9 coaches across Sweden, and we've been given the assignment to go to as many schools and coach the teachers. And the teachers didn't want coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that we learned to do was not to go in and tell them anything. Well, I must admit, we did that to begin with. We did it that way. We went in and said, this is coaching. And they went, so what? They weren't impressed. And then it became coaching versus teaching, which is best. Wrong approach in the end. So what we did was to ask, what are your expectations, or what do you think a coach does? And then we filtered, when they said the crazy things, we went, oh really, where's that come from? Yeah, that's right, we put listening, yeah, listening, and what kind of listening? And we sort of filter out, up on here went all the things that coaches do. And when we did that as coach, we stood in our coach role and facilitated their understanding of coaching, which is quite scary. I can understand why they didn't want it. They've seen a lot of coaching on television, I think. You know, sports coaching, and health coaching, and coaching in a restaurant or something. They've seen something on television. And when they realized that it wasn't that, they were more willing to listen. The next stage was to tell them what coaching was, but to not tell them what coaching was. It's very sneaky. We used the ICF core competencies. You know, the list, managing responsibility and progress, direct communication, creating relationships. We put them up on the board and we asked, which of these skills do you use and how much? So we went through each of them, you know, who uses this one? Okay, so how much do you use it? How much do you use managing accountability and progress? Oh, all the time. How do you do that? So we have a conversation. And then we do the grand reveal. These are coaching skills. And then they say gloriously, oh, so we can call ourselves coaches, can we? And we went, yeah, of course you can. But not qualified or certified, but yeah, you're coaching already because all the things you do are coaching. They do other things that aren't coaching, but all the things that were coaching, they do. They weren't quite sure about intimacy. We had to explain that it wasn't touching intimacy, but a nearness. So we explored the language around that. But otherwise, they were on board with the core skills. And then the biggest buy-in was, would you like to see some coaching? Oh, yeah, sure. And there's always a Nancy or somebody in the room who says, yeah, I'll have some coaching. And then we have to seal the room because of privacy and confidentiality. And then we pick a topic. We talk about what's coachable topics and what's not. You know, I want my boss to, that's not coachable. I want to, that's coachable. And we coach somebody for 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. And then we do a debrief. And in the debrief, my partner, the co-facilitator, will ask, what did you see the coach do? What kind of questions did he ask? And how did that question come up? What happened next? Was there different kinds of questions at the beginning, the middle, and the end? And how much advice did the coach give? There's another one. Where does the advice come from? How motivated is the coachee to do something? Teachers are very quick to decode coaching because they do it all the time, and B, they've just seen a professional example right in front of them. Of course they've worked it out. Can they do it? No, but they kind of know what it is. They've seen it. And then we put them into pairs and we got them to coach each other a little bit. Touch on coaching, and to notice, we asked them to, bit sneaky, listen to your partner and write down how many pieces of advice you would like to give them. Has anyone got any advice? You 3, 5, yeah, any more than 10, 20. You're speaking for 2 minutes, you've got 20 bits of advice? Oh, and what does the coach do with the advice? Yes, oh dear, they said, I understand that you don't give advice, but they do need advice. So we have a conversation about the difference between giving advice as a consultant compared to listening and generating that inner drive as a coach, as a coactive coach. So the structure there was listen, ask what they have in mind about coaching, show them coaching, but don't tell them what it is, show them linked to their profession, get them on board with the idea that inside every, I love this one, inside every teacher beats the heart of a coach. Yeah, I don't know how true it is, but I hope it's true. And then show them, and then get them to do it themselves so that they know really firsthand. It looks easy, but it's not. And what we did after that, we had a list of 10 or 8 places of coaching that was all paid for. So up to 10 teachers could get coached in this school this term if you'd like it. We were always oversold. There were always 10 or 15 people more than the list. That was fun. It was fun to do that. It took 2 years to perfect that. The third year we were going around saying, now we know what to do, and the funding ended, unfortunately. Otherwise, I'd probably still be doing it. Thoughts, comments, questions?
I like that technique a lot, finding a common ground and kind of like finding small steps that they are doing it already. It's a very useful coaching technique in different other cases too.
Yeah, I like the demystifying coaching elements, taking the competencies and say, like, this is what you are doing already. So, and playing around with that before introducing it.
Yeah.
And you know, I figured out, and just correct me anybody in the group if I'm right, that you are just being so silent because you are so engaged. And you have, like me, kind of bubbles coming up, like thoughts and sparkles and those many things, because, you know, now I kind of figured it out. That it seems that you are just so engaged like me, and you know, lots of things that you are sharing, Martin, that we are absolutely like kind of glued to the screen. So yes, glued to the screen. So we have, I'm a little bit conscious of time, and we have something in this group going on from the beginning, that whenever we leave the call, we take we share the learning, like one learning, and one thing that we are committing ourselves to do. So here it is, the moment for you who are here in the call tonight to share what is the learning you are taking away, highlighting one that really was like, ooh. And something that you are committing yourself to do, like a little bit of an action step, if you want to name it like that. And also letting you know that, please, if you have more questions, do reach out to Martin. I tagged him in the post, so on LinkedIn you can easily find him and get in touch with him. He's very super prompt in his responses, so you will find it, you know, very easy to set up a call and a time to chat with him. So,
and may I add, just ask for whatever you want. The head teacher of my son's college took great care of him for 3 years. He's a little bit special. I guess all fathers' sons are special, but he was a little bit special. She saw him, she cared for him, she supported the teachers taking care of him. Brilliant job. So when he's not there, I can go to the school to give a talk. So I asked, what would you like to give your teachers? Oh, Martin, could you come and give a talk about coaching? Yes, I said. To the students or the teachers? Oh, the students, especially the first year ones, because you know, they're so new. So she had 3 year groups. That's 300 students, little thereabouts. And she said, could you put them all into one room and coach them? I said, no, one room, no, I don't, you won't get any effect. And I said, well, I asked her, what do you really want? She said, I want every student to have a talk by Martin Richards about, and my talks are now called Making Choices You're to be Proud of. But we can't afford to pay for all of them. I said, no, please, just back up 10 seconds. Ask for what you want. She said, would you come to the school and speak to every student? I said, yes. She said, really? Why? I said, because you asked.
Wow.
You asked, and I said, I wanted you to ask me. I can't put more gold leaf on the floor. She said, but why? I said, you took 3 years with my son. I gave her actually 4 days of coaching. I spoke to 80% of the kids school. And when they meet me downtown, they go, "Are you Martin?" I go, "I might be. I might be. I'm not sure." But the fact they switch to English is a clue that they recognize me. Anyway, so ask. I am dying to give away everything I know.
Okay, shall we go for the sharing round and include what you want to ask?
I think it was just great. I mean, there were so many things that you said that were really amazing, and I've learned a lot, actually. I guess if I'm just going to say one thing, this is just a simple thing, about when you're introducing coaching, don't use the word or the term coaching to get rid of all the judgment to start with, so people can relax maybe. And I just think that's such a simple thing, but it's so powerful and can change a lot of things. I have lots of questions, but I need time. I always need time to think about them. And then I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'd be honored to be connected with all of you on LinkedIn, asking questions today, tomorrow, next week. I'll probably be around for the next 30 years. So there's no rush.
Thank
you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and Jasmine, what is the one thing you are committing yourself to do after this call?
Well, I'm going to try that for sure. Like about coaching, use a different name. I mean, it's such a simple thing, but it works. Yeah. And I've had a lot of experience with people, don't want to know because I say coaching. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's really good. No, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Great.
I can go next.
Sure, you can.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with Jasmine that I learned so much in this 1.5 hours. And the one thing I'm taking away from this, that to look for a common ground. This will open a lot of opportunity and get people to more to understanding rather than to defend their beliefs and so. And maybe the one thing I'm committing to, it is related to my relationship with my son now, as we are homeschooling and so I'm his teacher basically.
Wow.
That I'm going to look to hold him big and ask him who he wants to be or who really is.
Great. That's nice.
Wow.
Thanks, Nancy.
And I want to add something. I want to ask Martin later about, he said that.
Oops. Nancy, we've lost your question there.
Yeah. It seems this is a freezing night.
Yeah. We've broken Zoom.
Broken Zoom. Yes. So Nancy, we just missed the part when you were asking.
Yes, I was asking Martin about when he said that his stories are written in many books. If he can link the books or say so we know more about his stories.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. Try and stop me. No. The reason I wrote the books is I keep getting the question, how did you ... So I thought, okay, let's get this down. So I wrote a book called Bringing a Coaching Approach, not coaching, but a coaching approach. It was a rename to make it easier. Bringing a coaching approach to the education system. And it's full of tips. As a coach, I give no tips, but as an author, there's one a page, if not two. It's light, it's a fast read, it's a very thin book, but it's packed with tips. You know, you open up a double page, you've got something different you could do in whatever it is you're doing around the education system. There's a couple of other books that are full of stories about me actually coaching educators. And that's called The Coach in the Classroom. And there are multiple versions of it, depending on your wallet. You can buy the big fat book, which has got everything in it. Or you can buy the 3 little books. You can buy one of the 3 little books, which has got something to give you a little taster. They're also available on Amazon as ebooks. So if you have that technology and you like that sort of thing, you can get them for $1 or something.
Okay. Thank you.
So Martin, when we post this event in the group, would you just in the comment add the titles again? So in case, you know, yeah, okay, yeah. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Let's go on.
Okay, I can be the next one. Yeah. So first of all, I want to thank you also, Martin, for everything that you shared. It was really exciting and I learned a lot. And first of all, I think it's just so great to see, and I get so inspired because you are so inspiring and so excited about what you are speaking. So so that, you know, for me as such a beginner is so exciting to see like how much like fire you bring, you know, from something that you really love and you have a passion for that. So that was a big thing for me to see that, and it was really inspiring. And so a lot of things that I think I learned and I'm gonna take from this, but something that I'm gonna commit myself to is, I think, to really use these techniques also for my next coaching sessions that I'm gonna have. So I want to use these practices that you shared. So thank you for that.
Brilliant.
Welcome. Cool. Yeah. It's nice to see that something of what I said is actually going to be used maybe tomorrow, because otherwise things just disappear. Words,
Okay.
yeah, you have to put them into action. So really good question to take away something and use it.
Yeah.
Simple things.
Thank you.
And can you hear my voice? Can I go ahead?
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Martin. I really learned, and I just want to mention here that one thing stuck with me is the question, who are you? So I always used to think to ask these questions to teenager, it might make them a little disheveled or little, so I always restrain myself to ask these questions. So now, as you were saying, it is giving me confidence, like I can go ahead and do, because they also are in that pedestal. So thank you so much. I really appreciate for sharing that over here, and it's really like it's opened up a light thing in my mind that I can go ahead and do that with them. Yeah, thank you.
And they will no doubt be a little surprised perhaps by an adult asking that kind of question, but inside delight, you might not get an answer, but they are delighted that you took the time to ask. So, you know, if you say, who are you, in accusative tone, that's not going to do it. But you say, who are you? But they'll hear the accusative tone because maybe adults are on them all the time. But if you dig into the curiosity, that's what makes it work. I guess you could have said any question, but that's a powerful question to ask. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? 5 times usually is enough. 3 is enough maybe, but by 5 they're lost. And the idea is to get them lost so they don't know, and then you say, would you like to find out? And then you've got this marriage, you've got this relationship where you are guiding them to find out, but they are in charge. And that's completely new for most teenagers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rina. So, Elena, are you with us? Yes. Oh, great. At home arrived.
Yeah, I just changed. Thank you so much, Martin. That was really insightful and very inspirational. One thing I'll do immediately, well, 2 things I'll do immediately in my next workshop. So really where my co-active coach and trust that, you know, I co-create with them and start with the question. So what do you want? That will definitely surprise them, that they're here to just listen for me, dump information, but that will just also really, I think, will do magic. I'll give you feedback on LinkedIn.
Please, yes. Please let me know how it goes. Yeah.
And then I'll also, because this new workshop is about values, so it's about understanding what value and finding their core values and living on values, etc. So it might be also worth asking the who are you, and then digging deeper from there, rather than just doing the traditional values. So what are your values, blah blah.
Right.
So I have 12 and 13, so I'll see how it works, but I trust it will work. They will get it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Beatrix, as well.
Yes, thanks, Lena,
I'll
for
have to
joining.
listen.
Yeah, okay. Martin, do you want to join this round? Do you want to share your learnings here? And the one actions that you are taking?
So I know it sounds, no, I don't know it sounds. Sitting here, I don't feel like I'm doing anything new, but hearing your responses, I mean, I've just done what I've done. Hearing your responses, I hear how much I've done. And just, you know, if I can say, I've got perspective on all the mistakes I made in order to get here, all the trips and the falls. And I don't think I've arrived at the goal. I've got another 30 years more of stumbling about in the dark. And as we were talking here, my takeaway is carry on stumbling around, don't give up. Keep that curiosity going, because not doing it would be insane. And one thing taking away as an action, I think I'm going to be writing another book. I'm not, because the one I'm referring to is actually written in 2014. It's time for another one. I do tend to write copious numbers of books. So yeah, a book based on you guys. Wouldn't that be cool, with a little story of everything you took away and implemented? Could actually be a chapter or a paragraph, depending on how much you have. That would be fun. Co-creating a book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good idea.
That's a great idea.
It is, yeah. Co-creating. I like that.
Creating a book. So thank you for sharing that. And of course, I know you are expecting me to say as well, what am I learning? So I'm no exception here. And I just want to say I'm super grateful for this presence. Somehow today I really love that we connected with the focus on discussing very specific areas of education and coaching. And we had like loads of, I feel, so many tips you shared, Martin, and so many techniques and so many light bulb moments, you know, that, so that was just so good to have you and your experience and your sharing here in this discussion. So I'm very grateful for that and this type of connection we had tonight. And my learning is that openness to learning is very important. So being open to learn from different people, highlighting different areas. So I kind of feel like I learned something from each one of you, and that kind of enriches what I'm doing. So, you know, gives more insights, deepens my learning. And if you find it too generic, don't worry, it's quite specific in my head. And the step I'm taking is I would like to use that. I've thought about renaming coaching, but while listening to all of you, I kind of put down all the ideas how I want to rename it. And then I also saw the different pathways, how I can integrate it to what's already existing. So it's kind of not becoming coaching, it's becoming more real something else. And that's what I'm going to do first thing tomorrow morning. Great. And we are going to have this recording that we're going to be in the post, but also if you would be ready and kind enough to share just a little bit, a small smile, so we can also have a group photo. Put it into the album. So, you know, you don't have to smile very much. You can do a little, you can do a big smile.
Sorry, Beatrice, can I use it? Is it okay if I use this photo as well and put it somewhere?
Of course, yeah.
Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah, is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. My plan is to put it in the LinkedIn group and the R.A.C.E. Just so this is what we had, and then attach the recording. These are the people you can hear talking about very interesting things. So definitely great. Okay, so I'm gonna you will see me doing the keyboard combination and the smile. So I will just count down for the 3, 2, and 1.
Cheese.
Okay. Yeah, let's do another one. Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God.
Done it is. Done, done, done. Okay, and you know, apologies for having it 9 minutes longer. You know, we'll try to do my best, you know, work around with this timing. It's a work in progress, so I will work on it and improve it, and we can, you know, co-create it as well. There is a webinar I put in the LinkedIn group. It's just in case, you know, you don't see it often, and there is something in the notifications you can do that you can get a notification when a post is posted, but unless you fix it for yourself, it cannot be centrally fixed because it's not fair. You know, it has to be your choice if you want to get updates. So just play around. If you don't know, I will send you the link because I specifically Googled it. So you can get a notification. Otherwise, it allows me only to send a notification every 7 days, which is fair. If I think about all the other members, it's fair. So if you want to change it, you can change it. If you don't know how, just message me. I send you the link. Okay. And on Saturday, we are having this webinar, The Price of Dreams. It's with 2 friends of mine. We have been doing the CAFU initiative. So all the 3 of us are related to education in different ways. And these have been small videos. And now this is the first time we are meeting the people who have been watching those CAFU videos. So if that's interesting to you, you want to join, you're welcome. The details are there in the group. If you don't, then do take care and do, you know, stay tuned, because I don't know when the next, you know, webinar is going to be, but I'm definitely going to post it in the group.
Great,
and,
look forward to it.
Yeah, and it was great having you. Take care all over the world. And yes, then take the, you know, inspiration from Martin and pass it on.
Thank you so much, Martin. Thank you. And nice to meet everybody. I hope we can stay in touch. Yeah.
You too.
Yes.
Take care.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Bye.
Bye.